Hi, and welcome to our workshop panel powered by Radio Panini Kune Festival Day 2. I'm here with Martin, Maria, and Anis. First of all, guys, thank you so much for your precious time. You've been here for a couple of days, hard-working days. And today we're going to talk about the festival itself, an island of possibility. Anis, you've been here since the beginning.
Yes.
Looking back at a decade of Kune Festival, what is the most defining values that have stayed constant and the one that have evolved the most?
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Anders. It's a really good question. Kune has been evolving constantly over the last 10 years, and I think like in the essence, it's the community and the people that drive this whole project, you know, and it's really essential, you know. It's not about having some kind of like big vision, but it's more like having good people and an idea and how to shape that, you know. And I think that from the beginning we were just not figuring out anything, and then over the times we evolved and learned from our mistakes and got better at communicating our ideas with others. Yeah.
It started as a gathering of friends, and when was the time that it became something bigger than that, something that has its own momentum to an actual festival?
Yeah, so we started off as a crew, and we were just wanting to play music. We liked that, and we met at the dormitory at Grønlandskollegiet. Super randomly, everyone met super randomly. I lived close by and just walked by the grass, and they were playing music outside, Aline and a couple of others. And then I just asked, "Can I play music? I have some of my records." And then like, yeah. And then next days we were friends. And then we started doing Kune about a year after, small parties, and then building it up, doing parties around the city. We also did another fort, Dragør Fort, rooftops, basement, dungeons, different clubs, culture box ved det siden af, not den anden side, et andet sted. What am I missing?
We had a lot of winter at Råhuset.
Råhuset, yeah. Big event series. And at some point we were like, okay, we're kind of tired of doing stuff every month. Maybe we do like something every year. And then Rico randomly saw like a post on some Facebook group about Ungdomsøen, like looking for partners. And then I wrote them an email, I think the day after, and they were like, yeah, sure, let's meet. I think that was back in 2018. And then we got like the preview of this place, and then we were like, okay, I think this could work. Let's try it. And then in 19, they had just opened the island, and then they were like, 2 months before, they were like, do you want to do something? And then we're like, okay, yeah, sure. And then we made the pilot. Let's go.
Yes. Another question for you. What are the biggest logistical and emotional challenges of hosting a festival on an island?
Many emotional challenges.
Yeah,
for sure.
Lots of emotions, good and bad. And I think the full spectrum in different various degrees. Of course, logistically, it's crazy, right? You probably see in the boat Samka that is parked out here. So every single item almost has been sailed here on that boat. Everything you see, from all the stages to tents to bar, everything. So everything on pallets in that boat, off that boat, up here, everywhere. So if you forget like something, then it's like really difficult to figure it out. And in this way, it's a logistical big challenge. Like all the power cables, like everything is crazy infrastructure we have to set up here. Even though the island has a lot of things we can also use, but most of it we bring ourselves. Yeah, and that's a challenge.
And what keeps you coming back despite those challenges?
I think it's a combination of course the atmosphere here, the island, the people that we can gather, and just the whole experience itself. It's very unique. Just the fact that we are all on this island together in the middle of the ocean, on this old fort from the 19th centuries, infusing culture and art and music into a place that was used for military defense. It's something that it's quite special, and I think it's not many places in the world that has that. And of course, just like the community, the crew, like they're all my friends, you know, like the Kune crew and all the volunteers that we meet and the people and our partners and our collaborators, the people doing the stages, is just like yeah, it's all worth the time that we put into it when it's all running, you know.
Yeah, I was once told that, let's say for a vacation, what you remember is like the worst and the best experience, and then it can have been a shitty vacation, but you will maybe just remember the peak, and that can maybe draw your decision for the next choice of a vacation. And I think Kune Festival in its nature is a very unbalanced project. There's so much work going into it. And of course we have a good time in between, and we enjoy each other's company and learn from each other and all that. But there must be something about when you go here once a year and you have this great time seeing things falling into pieces, seeing artists shine, seeing people making new friends and yada yada. Oh, like there's so many examples to take out of this, and I think these 4 days really somehow makes up for all the hard effort and all the emotions you go through, and oh, yeah.
If I can add also here, I think also the production days are very special. So we are here, the core crew and some of the volunteers, for around 2 weeks almost. And also coming back to the infrastructure question that you had, I think the biggest challenge is that we can't really implement any of our own infrastructure in the island. So we literally have to build the whole festival in 5 days. And these 5 days are really, really, really intense. We are all sleep deprived and having multiple breakdowns a day. But
somehow we make it work.
Somehow we make it work, and we're all in this together, and it feels really like a family. And then like every time we have these production days or after, we're like, I don't think I'm ever gonna do it again, you know, like during production. And then the festival ends and we're all crying at Vessel stage and we're like, oh my God, let's do it again next year, you know. So yeah, there's something special about this hard work and community.
I think just the last quick thing, we have become way better at documenting what we do. I think in the beginning we had so many
Shout
events.
out to the media team.
Yeah. In terms of pictures, videos, recording sets and stuff, and like there's so many times where we have done cool stuff and then putting so much work into it, and then afterwards we forgot to document it, and then it's...
Who brought the recorder?
Yeah. It's just, you know, it just vanished in the past, so it means a lot too.
Thank you. I missed quite an opening stage of my interview. What are you doing in Kune Festival? Like, we should have started with this, actually. That's on me.
Should I start? Yeah. Okay. So I'm Anders. I said that before, but I am head of production operations. We call it. It's basically all tech and production together with Mitja, who is running around outside somewhere fixing stuff. I'm sure. We kind of like had the master plan idea, and then we communicate with all the stages and all the teams around that and help get them what they need. And so it's not just us two, but it's like a collaboration, and we kind of like manage that in some way.
I'm Maria. I'm head of volunteers at Kune. I used to work with Vika, who's sitting in the audience, and now I have my own new team. I've been part of Kune since late 2021.
My name is Martin, and I've been a part of Kune since 2017. Throughout the festival time, I've been working with a lot of different stuff, like volunteering, also fundraising, music booking, safety. But this year, I've been mainly focusing on the music program and then helping out a bit with the safety arrangement. Yeah.
I guess you all become like some kind of Swiss Army knives yourselves, like having different positions.
We call it the octopus brain.
Fair enough. Back to the talk. You once skipped a year and recently announced that the festival will happen only once every 2 years. Can you speak about that decision to pause, and how that shaped the festival direction or spirit afterwards.
I can go. Yeah, so everyone in Kune are working voluntarily. No one is getting any money doing this work, and basically that requires to manage our own resources in terms of our own jobs. We all have jobs besides Kune Festival and other things we have to do. So of course that takes a lot of requirements from us. We don't have a big budget. We don't have big sponsors. We don't have like big funding. We do get some funding each year. This year around like 150,000, I think. But that's nowhere near close to cover any of the costs that is required to cover even like the personal. So in this way, it's challenging. And then of course, it's the whole aspect of actually hosting it, organizing it, putting together the logistics of it, and just managing all this is it's also huge in the just in the spare time that you have in your normal life. So that's why we decided to say every 2 years, and then let's make it good, and then there will be stuff happening. It's not like we're gonna go to sleep for 1 year and then appear like a phoenix in 2 years. So watch out. We'll make something cool stuff happen. Yeah.
I can add to it also. I think it was in 2023 when we did the festival. It was like a kind of a breakdown point for all of us. We were all very tired and very drained. So we just sat down together as a team and we had a talk, and this is where decision came from also. It was mostly also for our own mental health, and also just to hit a pause and think about, okay, how we can improve, what we can do better here and there, and how we can expand as well. And but mostly, as Anna said, we all have our own jobs, and so it was very much mental health related. And
and from my perspective, I was also a bit sad that I didn't get to that many other festivals and such. And I think in many ways it's nice with every second year, and it also gives us a bit more time to evaluate and prepare and fundraise. So hopefully a lot of good stuff will.
And also get inspirations from like other places, because as Anna said, we actually it's almost impossible for us to go to other festivals because we need to work on this one.
How do you protect Kune's core value? So there's no VIP, there's no big sponsors, no fences, even as it grows in scale and international recognition. You made a nice statement about partnership and sponsor, like how you locate it, like sourcing local brewers, local partnership, basically.
Yeah, I mean it's a fine line, right? Because somehow it needs to work financially, but we also have a vision and idea of what we want this place to be, and if it's like covered in Tuborg or Red Bull logos everywhere, and they are like guiding the way that we are thinking about what we want to do. That's not anything we want to be a part of. So of course we do have to get people to help us and collaborators, and that's been very challenging to, I guess, negotiate with them. I've mostly done it with through production, but we have other partners and people helping us. You can see on our website like who it is.
I think the identity of the festival is also very underground focused, and I'm pretty sure that the visual part of the festival is also very appealing to people. So as Anna's mentioned, we don't also want to lose that and have like big Red Bull or Tuborg tents, because then it would lose part of the identity, which is in our core values to be the DIY independent festival. Yeah.
Volunteers are the backbone of Kune Festival. What motivates people to return every year, like year after year? And how do you build a culture that sustains that level of dedication?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we talked about with production and like the family feeling. And and mostly just community. I still wonder why I come back every year, but I think it comes on many different levels. Community is like on the top of it, and we try to make our volunteer program as detailed and as organized as possible, so the volunteers feel confident to fill in to the role. Because also, no matter how much you try, it's a festival, and onboarding people for the festival, it's gonna be always impossible to make sure that they will be 100% ready. But we try as much as possible with like 100,000 briefing sheets and Discord channels and roles in the volunteer correlation. And so I think that's like one of the most important things for them to be prepared. Every year also we're trying to improve the volunteer program. Like every year I sit down or with someone and make a whole volunteer strategy and gather feedback from the past years and improve what worked well, what didn't, and how we can also improve on the sustainability level of the social sustainability. So as an example, this year we also introduced some volunteer activities that people can like volunteers specifically can participate in during the festivals days. And what else? We have the designated headquarters area for the volunteers that only, again, volunteers have access to. We try to give them a little special treatment.
Yeah, to make the experience meaningful and not just functional.
To also just give back. So another example, when we organized a volunteer onboarding weekend as a thank you to the volunteers, and it happens 1 month before the festival. We had one in June, and during that weekend we also organized some skill development workshops. So we're trying to give as much back as possible, and I think also organizing these little gatherings, onboardings, brings people together and they mingle and they just
yeah, and like knowledge sharing, like during the production, I've also been trying to say that at the briefings, like it's really important for me to get back and for people to learn. You know, it's not just like coming here and then setting up something. Of course, that has to happen. But if there's any like special interests, then we can try to help improve the learning. You know, and I at least try to read all the application and put people in the teams that kind of like made sense for that. Of course, it's a puzzle piece. And I was like, it's just like, if there's an interest in something, like just ask, you know, and like we can only learn from each other if we ask, and everyone has their own vision and also ideas, and really try to give people the freedom. For instance, like with Astral Stage, we had only 2 days to set that up. I had some idea, and then half of the time I wasn't able to be there because I was everywhere, but somehow everyone just understood what had to happen and just start doing stuff and hanging deco, and I'm like, fucking awesome, like wow, you know, just almost like telepathically just understanding the needs, and I think that's super special. And yeah,
I think also, just as Anna's mentioned, giving ownership to volunteers is very important for us, so they can do something as they want.
It's not our festival, we're doing this festival together.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Kune also means together, and in Esperanto, which was supposed to be this great language that was unifying the nations. It was developed by this ophthalmologist Zamenhof in the 1800s, and basically that didn't happen. Of course, English and other languages took over, but I feel like the message is quite beautiful in the way that we can only do it together. Like, you can build all this stuff, but without the people and the people involved, it's like it doesn't make sense.
And I actually wrote my bachelor thesis about Kune Festival and volunteering. I don't think it was very good, but one thing, like in general, I think from research shows that there may be like you can gather like 8 categories of why people would volunteer, and like for some it's knowledge, for some it's friendship, for some it's more heroic. Like it can be like different aspects that motivates people to volunteer. And I think one of the points is that what I find interesting now can be different from what I found interesting 4 years ago, and that applies to everyone. And I think Kune has been very good by allowing people to take responsibility, but also allowing people to change, focus of what they do. Like, so if you want to learn about production, you can go nuts with that. If you want to learn about project management or fundraising or whatever, you can go into that. So I think that dynamic in Kune has been essential.
Maybe just the only challenge here is to like make sure that people can understand that they can take responsibility and ownership and not be afraid, And like, how do you set up a mindset for that, Because of course you're like not sure, and you like sometimes it's hard to ask questions if you have a lot, but at the end you just have to do it because it's the only way. Because we haven't developed telepathy yet, even though sometimes it could be cool to have. Yeah.
What does a year-round commitment to Kune look like, and how do you avoid burnout in a patient-driven environment?
I think what also Martin touched upon is, as we are also volunteers, the thing about that we can learn new stuff and we can try out new stuff every year if we are interested in. It's very important and what is driving us. So if I decide to do something else next year than volunteering, there is a space for it. And I have full support of the team, I hope.
Of course. It's actually something that I've been struggling with a lot personally, because it's really hard for me to say no to stuff and just take on responsibilities, because yeah, of course, maybe I can do it, but then not understanding my own resources and my availability. And over the years, I've gotten better at it, but I'm still not great at it. I think maybe I'm not sure. But it's about, yeah, you just have to communicate like your needs, like, and it can be hard to do.
Sometimes we're struggling a lot with communicating our needs to each other, and also if we need help with something, I struggle a lot with that, and I struggle to sometimes just give ownership to someone to do something, because for me to explain them how to do something, I would rather do it on my own, And
that's a classic mistake.
But maybe just nice to tell, like in Kune we are around 30 like full year volunteers or core volunteers, and then we have around 180, 200 who volunteers around the festival. And then let's say with the community, some people might attend one year and not another, but I think the volunteer community is greater than 300 or something. Yeah, it's quite large, and so we have mobilized a lot of work and knowledge sharing throughout the time.
Yeah, I think we can still get better, and I think we are getting better. But yeah, it's like time management, but also like for me personally, I had to start had to get some tools like for therapy to like help like organize my thoughts, because it can get quite overwhelming because I think about it all the time. So it's like it takes over your kind of like your system a little bit, and that's fine. But it's not fine if you also have to do other things, and that can be a bit challenging. Luckily, with my work, it's quite flexible, and I'm also freelance. So in that way, it's easy. But for other people in the crew, it's difficult with full-time jobs. And I mean, you have a baby, Martin. You have a little son. Like, it's fucking crazy, Like.
But I think also to add on, in all of this chaos, we are really trying to support each other as much as possible, and we really are family, and we are friends all year round. It's not like we meet just in July and like, oh hi, how are you? Like, no, we go out together. We come to the island. This year, I think I've never been that many times to the island ever. Yeah, and I think that's super important, and that's what keeps you like. Yeah, you want to come back. You want to work with these people again and again.
You also all three pretty much involved in Copenhagen nightlife as performers and artists yourself. So yeah, there's also some support on this and crossovers and everything. Martin, a question a bit more for you about programming. How do you approach programming? What's the balance between curation and openness, between local Scandinavian identities and international connections? Because this year you got a lot of international guests.
I think we built up some experience of what worked and what didn't work throughout the years, and I think we also gained some confidence in taking chances by bringing maybe some artists that not everyone is aware of. And this year the focus has really been to display all the stages in the right way and really to make a coherence between the stages, so the music complements each other, and really trying to also encourage audience to move around stages, because we some years had a bit like some people would stay most at one stage, and so that's really been the focus this year. In terms of curation, also finding the right balance between local artists and international is also something we have been evaluating, and because Kune is like locally anchored, and with locals, I think now it's more like northern countries of Scandinavia, not only Copenhagen or Denmark. And we also feel that many from our audience come to see the local acts, but I also find it very beautiful when you have this mix of locals and internationals, which add this special spice. And some people who are maybe not here often or are at a European tour or come with a new style of music or a new aesthetic style or something that can completely refresh the way we think about music or art here. And then seeing some of the recordings being released on mixtape series from other countries or platforms, it's really... That's where the magic happens for me, yeah.
There's also a couple of human and musical connection as you've been playing abroad, and people you set up links to, like on a human and musical way somehow.
Yeah, I think this year we tried to really define a strategy, because there's so many artists we want to bring, and there has to be some hard decisions, and not everyone can play every year. That's just the tough facts. So with the strategy, it was like something we brought to the board, and then we've been thinking a lot about who would make sense in terms of the overall lineup, in terms of diversity and other aspects, and also for the sake of the actual time slot on the night on the stage. So that's been helping a bit to take the hard decisions and also to figure out what to look for.
Who are you taking the decisions with?
Yeah, it's Kasper Marot, and I have been in charge of the music program this year. I don't know if Kasper is here. But then we have also been, giving out a sheet to the Kune crew so they could come with recommendation. And of course, we talk with people when we're at clubs, when we hear acts, when, it's constantly thinking about music and stuff. But we have been giving the trust and take the mandate to take this decision and kind of put the decision making to only 2 people instead of more people, which we have had beforehand, and try that out, because we thought it would end up giving a better music program.
Kune emphasize on co-creation. It's something that's coming quite often. We talked a bit about it. Can you share a few moments or projects where something beautiful emerged purely from this open collaborative ethos?
All the stages this year are a collaboration between different people. This year, again, we brought the Yakamots crew from Austria. They're building the vessel stage in 23 and also this year. We did it a little bit different this year because they partnered up with the light design team from Copenhagen called Creme Levante and kind of paired them up together. And we had some meetings and brainstormed, and then they just created the whole concept. So big shout out to them for doing this. We have the Feum crew from Aarhus this time on Space Stage. A little bit same concept. We partnered up with them, and then our own stage design team, Matej and Gunnar, teamed up with them and shared their vision and ideas to help a collaboration. And this is just really a big driving force, and also something I want to for personally approach more towards or go more towards, because the way that it has worked out is just really, really, really nice, both in terms of my own personal stress levels, because I just knew that they fucking had it, but also because of the way that they bring inputs and inspiration to the festival, and their crazy ideas and making it happen.
Yeah, that's one good example. I think also with music, we've had for the first time these takeovers, or we have been giving some we have the Umen Vapta showcase tonight at Astral Stage, so that was giving to Woody 92 the full curation of tonight, and he's been here playing before, and we knew that he loves the festival. He shares the same ethos about the whole spirit, and so we trusted him. Also now we have group therapy taking over the beat stage, so that's also a new concept or a new form of collaboration we have. You have other examples?
Maybe on the volunteer level, we also give opportunities to volunteers. For example, with the volunteer activities that I mentioned, it is actually coordinated but by one of the volunteers, our shift coordinator, Lily. And volunteers also can bring ideas to the table, and they can organize something during the festival. And we're bringing more and more of these things also every year.
Also, just a quick thank you to Strøm Festival for lending us their little red sound system. It's looks pretty cute down there. Yeah.
We have art, food, music, and workshops. Everything coexists at Kune. How do you intentionally design this multisensory, immersive experience?
It designs itself. Oh, I mean that, but we all just come with ideas, and I think we try to find people that are interested in doing something, and then we kind of see how it fits into the whole aspect. It can be, an example is this right now, Radio Panini Talk. They're our good friends, and we like what they do, so we're like, hey, maybe you want to come hang out on an island for a couple of days and record some talks? What about that?
I think also Alin, our festival director, is really good at keeping all these elements coming into the festival, where I maybe tend to focus at something and other would focus at another thing. He's really good, has to have this overview and insist on this multidisciplinary festival. So yeah, shout out to him for that, for sure.
Yeah, I think also just like all of us in the core team, we know what are the core values, and it's not like the festival director or someone has to make a decision about every single area or every single thing. As we talked about the ownership and co-creation, this is what's happening also in our core team. We are co-creating it and we have ownership. So we have different, of course, heads of departments, and We also have a arts department, for example, and they are taking on their own decisions. So they make it their own, but still sticking to the Kune core values.
Yeah, exactly. It goes for all of us. I mean, we can come with inputs, but basically we are all in our teams responsible for our areas, and then we are, expected to handle that. Yeah.
In a time of cultural commodification and rapid festival commercialization, what does it mean to create a space for genuine cultural exchange?
Can you use it in a sentence?
Yes. I mean,
What do you
doing
get?
events for many years, I think we found out what we are good at, what are we able to facilitate. Now festivals are like everywhere, and like you can have a one-day event and it's a festival. So it's also a term that's kind of being used in many forms. We feel we have the best festival here. Like it's a secluded island, and it's islander. There could be done so much stuff out here, and I mean we have tons of ideas to bring into life. And
Yeah, if the director of the island is gonna watch this, we have a lot of knowledge and ideas on what this island could be, and we always want to help, and we always have ideas, and I feel like in Copenhagen in general, there's not many places left in this town that is not somehow restricted in some ways, either by apartment buildings right next to a club, or by DB levels, or by somehow, you have to fucking go to Hvidovre now to start going clubbing, I think, in 2 years, because you're just getting pushed out, So I feel like having a space and an island for, first of all, Københavns Kommune, if you're watching this, maybe you can understand that there could be a space for something more cultural, not just music, but art, but like everything within cultural sphere could really exist. And it's not that far. It's just 30 minutes from the city.
yeah, but it also addresses the fragility of this festival. It's as I said, it's based on an unbalanced work relationship in terms of resources, but we do it anyway. We are lucky that we have this island, but if we were not willing to put all this, it could vanish so fast. So it's really a privilege to have this space where we can basically do what we want to do. Yeah.
Looking ahead, what are your hopes for the next 10 years of Kune? What kind of legacy are you consciously trying to build?
To not get noise complaints from Lunette Holman, maybe.
What? Yeah, we want to build a dome, and then and then turn it into the Truman Show a little bit. No, I think in long term, like I'm quite inspired by Strøm Festival and what they're doing for electronic music in general. The whole history and preservation and keeping it. Keeping the spaces alive and keeping the culture alive, and I think for us we're still kind of like finding the way. For me, it's a lot of community building and knowledge sharing and giving back, and just try to evolve and try to make things better, more efficient, more expressive. I mean, it could be so cool to live from this, at some point, but in some way we need to financially make it happen. It's like we're way off.
Yeah, if you look at some of the older organizations here in Copenhagen, you have Nusnus, who's behind Distortion, and Hangarn. I think they're 20 plus years old, and you can tell by they're quite established in terms of they have like a business model that works for them, and they're and you have Strøm Strøm Festival, who's also been operating for quite some years, and I hope that in the next 10 years, Kune will establish a very healthy and strong organization that, you know, even though we would quit, there would be like some a structure that would allow new people to take over, and yeah.
I think also with the break that we decided to take, we talked in our core crew to bring Kune also a bit beyond the festival, because I think this is the part that we were missing a lot, because like basically we just don't have time. We already work 1 year to make a festival, and that would mean, for example, making some art residencies and etc. etc. I think we talked that this would be our biggest hope, to expand in these areas, so not only festival, but do some other things all year round when we don't do the festival. And we have the island of possibilities for that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for honest answers and lots of infos. Does the audience have any questions? Just going to repeat the question. So it's about DIY festivals and the need to get more support from the public in general, from the public institutions.
The short answer is yes. I've been quite frustrated many times, like that we didn't get more support, and people didn't get what we were doing, because just come and see, you know, it's so much great stuff happening here, but there's just many organizations who are seeking the same funds and resources, and you really have to be very skilled at communicating what you do in terms of receiving funds. So yeah, it's just something you need to be very good at. Yeah, but I think I'm sad that we do, like, in general, that there's not more funding being given out to DIY organizations, and just trusting people can do some sick stuff, because usually they do some really cool stuff if they just have the trust. Yeah.
If I can add, in terms of being good at it also, this year we had, for the first time ever, like a hired fundraiser person to write all the fundraising applications, and we still got rejected from, like, how many, 70% of them?
Yep.
Yeah. So the answer is definitely yes, in my opinion. I think people don't really get what we are trying to do in here, and when they hear a festival, an electronic music festival, they quickly associate it with substance abuse as well, which is not fully correct.
Yeah, or just like having fun or partying. I don't know, when, you know, you need to find the right words to frame the project. It's so important. And also, I think in general, electronic music in Denmark compared to more globally is still, like, for the person in Herning, or in, nothing against Herning, but like, just, you know, the ideal fund application, you would write one that somebody in God knows where would read it and understand it and say, oh yeah, this project needs money. And if you're able to write it like that, you are doing it right.
And I think it's not just about money. It's also like a space, you know? Like, we don't even have an office. Like, imagine if there's somewhere you could just, like, go and sit and meet, and like, just say, let's just take 5 DIY festivals, or not even festivals, just like spaces or communities that need somewhere to be, and then the Kommune or someone else just has, like, these rooms sitting there, like, for rent, just like, hey, we're here, you know, like, just reach out, or like, I don't know how you can establish this connection, but there's so many ways to help than just money, you know? Also just infrastructure, or, I mean, a million things you could do to just improve. And the irony of it all is, like, most of the cool things happen in the underground, and then they, like, slowly seep into the community of, like, more commercialized events spaces or whatever. And that's completely fine, and we all take inspiration from each other. But yeah, I think a lot of things happen in the DIY, and a lot of things happen through this creation and co-creation and it's really difficult to actually just get into it, because you're starting from nothing and then you have to build it on top of that, Yeah.
So what are the biggest lessons you learned from start to today?
Invest in the right things, and that is multi-purposely, both in terms of knowledge and learnings, but also just practicalities. I wish I could turn back to 2019 and tell myself like, hey, actually in 5 years you're gonna use this thing all the time. Maybe it will be a good idea to buy it instead of renting it 2 times before you realize you should buy it. But in other things, I think it's like just share your thoughts with the other team. I don't know. Yeah. Don't keep it inside too much.
For me, I think it's about people and that there's hope in people, however it sounds. I learned a lot in the past years that whatever you need, you just communicate and reach out, and if you have the right people around you, you'll be fine.
Any other question from the audience? Well, I'd like to thank you very much. We're going to release you. You have a lot of things to do. The festival is only day 2. Wish you the best. Have a blast. And thank you again.
Thank you, Pablo.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's been recorded and uploaded via Radio Panini. Woo! Thank you.